just revealed Nagi's goodbye and it has everyone crying. But what if I told you Nagi's end is all according to Ego's plan? His story isn't over yet, and I'm going to provide that fresh copium you desperately need before you crash out. Isagi always sets his sights on someone. That's why his football evolves non-stop, and that's exactly what Nagi lost. His motivation faded. His dream got too small. But now, after Isagi's words, that fire is back. Nagi's elimination isn't the end of his story. It's actually the turning point. Rather than being portrayed as a failure, it's framed as a transformative phase, a necessary setback that pushes him towards more growth. Think about it. The manga emphasizes that ego and evolution are forged in moments of defeat, not just victory. Even my man Isagi was crying like a bitch when he looked at Loki being too powerful, and then he grew as a person, right? Look at Yukimiya, look at Hiyori. And for the first time, Nagi is beginning to understand that. He acknowledges his shortcomings, the over-reliance on raw talent, the lack of drive, and the absence of a deeper purpose. Here's the key that everyone seems to forget, like all the Nagi haters saying, yeah, I want him to be gone forever. Well, no, he actually has a professional bid. He will likely join the club that offered, giving us the perfect setup for episode Nagi to continue. That spin-off, told entirely from his perspective, is now positioned to explore his personal training arc outside of Blue Lock. This means we'll likely see Nagi thrown into unfamiliar territory, training with professionals and facing opponents who don't care about his past hype. Like, remember, in the Neo League, even Chris, Prince, and Agi figured out exactly how to patch up Nagi's zero creativity issue. They were trying to turn this lazy dude into a playmaker. If Nagi learns how to do this, he'd instantly add massive value to the team, going from passive to actually creating golden chances himself. Now, in chapter 180, we saw this shit go down for the first time. Isagi realized that Nagi is trying to create his own kind of football, but Agi gives him 8 out of 100 on his play. Now, at that point of time, Nagi could not visualize plays before acting on them, and he stated that football isn't fun, and he doesn't like the stuff Chris and Agi were trying to teach him. Instead, he wanted to be with his Pookie, and now he's admitted in chapter 300 that that was a mistake. He would have been a better player if he didn't rely on Reo. So, this is proof that Nagi is going through the club route to become a better player. So this isn't goodbye. It's the beginning of Nagi's real story. Nagi claims that Reo could become even stronger without him, and their dream of winning the World Cup together is not attainable at this point. So for now, this is goodbye. But before Nagi walks into the exit to leave forever, everyone reacts to their breakup really sad. However, Isagi stops Nagi, telling him not to quit playing football. And guess what? His Demon King aura will work, because we see a fire spark of ego in Nagi's eyes. The truth is, Nagi is going to make a generational comeback. The fire that Isagi ignited is 100% proof that Nagi will return. Chapter 297 foreshadows it perfectly. Isagi breaks down the formula behind the ecstasy of playing football, the exact feeling that once moved Nagi. Isagi explains something very important. To enter your top performance, you need more than just logic or technique. You need a fire inside, a dream, a rival, a reason to devour, whether it's Baro, Rin, or Kaiser. Nagi thinks of Ryo more than his Pookie, claiming that he wants to become the ideal person Ryo wants him to be. Their entire goal is to increase their rankings to make it into the World Cup. But Bachara over here, he made a clown out of Nagi. He rainbow flicks his ass, sending him to Kingdom Come, just for Nagi to glaze his shot. But the situation for Nagi, it only gets worse. He gets devoured once again by Otoya, where he is completely useless. He's left chasing those that have strong reason and awaken their ego, as Nagi lacks the fire. He isn't playing football for himself, but for Ryo, which can't compete with the other monsters. Nagi then starts to question how he can create a new version of himself, as the only time he has felt fire is when he defeated Isagi to score the super goal. That's when Ryo comes in to make them focus on themselves, where Nagi states yet another sussy thing about Ryo being gaslit. Like, bro, have you ever come across a grown man calling another guy gaslit? That's like 10 out of 10 on the sus scale. However, in chapter 297, Nagi's downfall just keeps escalating. Chris Prince throws him aside, saying he doesn't want to invest in someone that doesn't have ideals, where he proceeds to deny Nagi a goal. Chris Prince is the one that roasted his ass, stating Nagi has no creativity as well. But what does this mean? Where did Nagi's downfall even begin? Well, the dude was the CEO of doing nothing and still winning at life. But here's why his first ever defeat was the best thing that could have happened. See, Nagi was the type of genius who didn't have to lift a finger. Studying? Easy. Sports? Effortless. This man legit speedran life. He got into one of the best high schools without trying, casually ranked second place, and even clutched a volleyball championship without breaking a sweat. Basically, Nagi was living life on autopilot. Then enters Ryo, basically the first person ever to look at Nagi and think, yo, this NPC might actually be OP. Ryo drags him into football and Nagi's just like, sure, I guess. So for once, he felt noticed. Kinda like when someone finally replies to your dry ass group chat message. But then Blue Lock happened. Nagi's chill life got flipped upside down. He pulled up thinking it's just another easy dub. But no, Isagi Yuichi kicked his ego straight into the Shadow Realm, bitch. After getting absolutely humbled, Nagi finally felt the sting of defeat for the first time ever. And why did Nagi, a dude who's literally allergic to effort, suddenly decide to grind? Simple, because now he had a dream with Ryo. Yeah, their relationship sure has their ups and downs like an actual couple, if you know what I'm saying.
That's a little gay.
This whole dream thing, it wasn't originally Nagi's, it was Ryo's. Ryo wanted to win the World Cup, but he knew he couldn't achieve it alone. However, Nagi realized something huge. As long as he and Ryo kept leaning on each other, they'd forever stay stuck in mid-tier territory. So to break their skill ceiling and actually reach the World Cup, the couple had to split up, train solo, and then reunite when they were both cracked enough. But Ryo, he completely missed the point. In his head, Nagi ditched him, basically thinking he got friend-zoned for being trash. Ryo couldn't see that Nagi's move was actually peak friendship. Now flying solo, Nagi needed a rival who would push him, so he locked onto our MC Isagi, thinking that he would become stronger if they played together. And yeah, we see the results. We can all agree that it worked out. He pulled off crazy goals in the selection arcs and in the U20 match. So until now, everything was going smoothly. However, the real challenge for his ego awakening actually began at the start of the Neo-Egoist League. And since this bloody arc yapped on for 5 years, here's everything that went down. When Chris Prince asks Nagi to describe his ideal play, Nagi's brain, it basically blue screen. Ideal play? I've never heard of her, because Nagi had always played football on easy mode, waiting for perfect passes, scoring goals using whatever random trick popped into his head at the last second. Chris immediately roasted Nagi for exactly that, his complete lack of creativity. Nagi's entire gameplay revolved around relying on his teammates. He wasn't cooking up anything himself. Now players like Isagi or Rin, they use their teammates to score goals. However, they are actively maneuvering around them or controlling the play towards the goal they want. Nagi, on the other hand, he just sits there waiting for the ball to fall into the ideal places just so he can react. There is no agency in his play. Nagi was basically an elite finisher who couldn't make his own meal, always waiting for delivery, never stepping into the kitchen himself. As a result, Chris Prince and Agi, they figured out exactly how to patch up Nagi's 0 zero creativity issue, turning this lazy genius into a playmaker. Now on paper, it made sense. If Nagi learnt playmaking, he'd instantly add massive value to his ranking, going from passive to actually creating golden chances himself. In chapter 180, we see this shit go down. Isagi realizes that Nagi is trying to create his own kind of football, but Agi gives him an 8, an 8 out of 100 on his play.
You don't have future here. You don't have future. You can never make it.
The dude flopped. The reason for this is that Nagi cannot visualize plays before acting on it. He even made these shit passes. Bro has no meta vision at all. Like not even the basic 1 out of 10 version of it. Bro's at a 0. Whilst the other top 23 ranking players, they all have a special eye at this point. So that's when Isagi understood that Nagi is still a chick when it comes to creating his own style of play. But once evolved, his star power draws in those around it to accelerate his talent into a world-class prodigy. Because guess what? There are still a few ways Nagi could still make it into the World Cup. The least likely way is another wildcard. We all thought Kunigami was dead after the 3rd selection, right? Instead, bro was revived, being pumped with Ego's special science sauce, resulting in one of the best players in the entire project. So it's possible that Ego has a way to harness Nagi's potential as a player too. The second option is if a player is injured during the World Cup and Nagi is brought upon since he has a number 24 in the rankings. Think about it. The pressure of the World Cup would be larger than anything we have seen in Blue Lock so far. An entire nation's hope is riding on Nagi's feet. So what better time for him to finally not put the out when things get tough? Because now he has learned his lesson to not take the easy way out. And finally, there is also the path of popularity. Remember that the NEL is basically a reality TV show in the world of Blue Lock. Other than the games, if you signed up to their subscription, you get to see the boys training, eating, talking, everything, and there are millions of subscribers paying for that. And we know from the promotional page for the NEL that there is a popularity poll. Fans can show their support to their favorites by sending them a vote. And with how amazing Nagi's goals have been, and it going viral with the 5-shot volley, you don't even have to look at the Blue Lock universe to see how popular this dude is. Like, my man has his own side manga with Rio and got a movie adaptation. So who the hell is gonna vote for Nanase or Fukaku?
Who?
Do you even know who Fukaku is?
Who in the blue hell are you?
That's what I thought. So the fans will vote Nagi back in to join the World Cup. Now to enjoy more peak fiction about this manga, watch this video where I explain all the goals that actually happened in real life.